Hello guys, welcome to the 8th session of the Entity Framework Core 2.0 tutorials. In this session we will update the existing book detail for the specific book ID. Let's switch to the Visual Studio and create a new action. Name update book, which will take the two parameter, that is integer book ID and book new book as a parameter. The first parameter is the book ID, which contains the ID of the book that we are going to update, and the second parameter is a book that will specify that the new property for that book. Let's create the try catch block. Exception x, return x dot message. First of all, we need to check that the book ID in that first parameter and the ID property in the book instance are same. For that, write if book ID not equal to new book dot ID. Then we need to return invalid data, else. Now we need to check for the each property of the new book instances exist. For that we need to write if new book dot title not equal to null and new book dot price not equal to 0 and new book dot description not equal to null and new book dot author ID not equal to 0. Then we need to use the context dot update method, which will take the entity as a parameter. In our case it is a new book, and call the save changes method and return book details updated successfully. Else we need to return missing some properties. Run our project. Let's first see what data exists in the database. Execute the select query. You can see that the third book in the book table contains the description by the popular author. Now I am going to call the update book action and pass the book ID equal to 1 and ID equal to 3, title equal to updated title ampersand description equal to updated description ampersand price equal to 120 and author ID equal to 2, and hit the enter button. You can see that it generated the invalid data error. Just because of the we are specify book ID to update will be a 1 and new book ID detail will be a 3, which was invalid as per the our if else condition. So we need to write the 3 here and press the enter. You can see that the book details are updated successfully. Let's fire the select query again. And here is the detail that we are now updated, which author ID become the 2 and description become updated description, price will be 120 and the title is updated title. And now let's remove any of those property. You can see that it generated the missing some property message too. This was the first method for updating the data using the entity framework. Let's comment those and use the another method. In this method we are use the update method and pass the new book details, which contain the new property values. In the second method we will retrieve the existing book detail first, then update the each property value manually with the new book details property. Let's retrieve the book first. Name db book equal to context dot book dot single or default async and pass book such that book dot id equal book id, and set the db book dot result dot title equal to new book dot title, db book dot result dot description equal to new book dot description, db book dot result dot price equal to new book dot price, db book dot result dot author id equal to new book dot author id. Again we need to call the context dot save changes method and return updated successfully message. Let's run it. And let's switch to the previous step in which we are already set the some parameter, and now replace the updated with second method in the title and hit the enter button. We got the update successfully message. Let's fire the select query, and here is the book title become the updated with the second method. Let's see what we are learning in this session. The first way to update the data is use the update method of the context, in which we need to pass the new instance of the entity. In the second way, we need to retrieve the existing book detail from the database and manually set those property with the new property. Here are the some URL to the our action if you needed. If you have any doubt, feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.